Grandma Eleanor was wheeled into the nursing home without a word. Her children didn't even stay long enough to see her settle in. 3 days later, they got a call from her lawyer. What he read from her will silence the entire room. The front door of the nursing home slammed shut behind them. Karen didn't look back. Neither did her younger brother, James. "Let's be honest," Karen muttered, checking her phone. "We've done more than enough. She's lived 80 for years." James shrugged. "And it's not like she'll remember this place anyway. The doctor said early stage dementia, right inside." Eleanor sat quietly in her wheelchair, hands folded in her lap. Her eyes glistened, not from confusion but from clarity. She knew what was happening. She also knew something her children did in single quotes Eleanor used to be the heart of the family. Thanksgiving dinners, her house, Christmas morning, her handmade ornaments, her cinnamon rolls. When her husband died, she held the family together like glue. But after a fall in the garden and a brief hospital stay, the tone shifted. Karen began talking about burdens. James mentioned how expensive in-home care had become. 1 week later, she was dropped off at Roseview Nursing Home. No hugs, no farewell speech. Just a clipboard signed at the front desk. The nurses whispered, "She's too alert to be in here. Something's off." Why would they leave her like that? They didn't know Eleanor used to be a school principal, sharp, respected, and very, very intentional. That night, Eleanor handed a sealed envelope to the facility administrator. "Please, ensure this is sent to my attorney, Michael Boone, immediately." 3 days later, she passed away in her sleep. The call came at 9:03 a.m. Karen was annoyed. "Why is your lawyer calling me on a Tuesday morning? Can't this wait?" James, ever the opportunist, perked up. "Maybe it's about the house." The siblings and their spouses arrived at Boone and Associates. Later that afternoon, the conference room was sterile and quiet. Michael Boone, a gray-haired man with tired eyes, placed the will on the table. But before reading it, he played a recording. It was Eleanor's voice, clear, deliberate. "If you're hearing this, I'm likely gone, but not before I made some final decisions. You see, I know what you did. I know what you said about me behind closed doors. And now I know what I'm going to do about it." Karen's face turned pale. James sat up straighter. Michael flipped to page 1 of the will and started reading. "To my children, I leave exactly what they left me, nothing. But to someone else, everything." Michael continued, unfazed by the gasps. "I, Eleanor May Whitaker, of sound mind and clear memory, hereby bequeath the following. To my daughter, Karen, I leave my old kitchen calendar. May you finally learn how to make time for others. To my son, James, I leave my garden gloves. You once told me you didn't have time to help me tend the roses. Now you can try." Karen slammed the table. "This is a joke, right? Is this even legal?" Michael nodded calmly. "It's notarized, witnessed, recorded." But the next line made the room fall dead silent. "To the young woman who visited me every Sunday at St. Luke's Church, who brought me lemon pie when my own family forgot my birthday, I leave everything else, my house, my savings, my jewelry, my pension account, my entire estate." James blinked. "Who?" Michael passed a photo across the table. It was a picture of Eleanor with a young woman in scrubs. The two were laughing over tea. That's the nurse from the hospital." Karen gasped. Michael nodded. "Her name is Adriana Ruiz. She was your mother's home health aide during recovery. She came on her day off every week, even when she wasn't paid." Karen looked like she'd swallowed broken glass. She barely knew her. She listened. Michael replied, "That was more than you did." Outside the office, James pulled Karen aside. "This isn't over. There's got to be a loophole. We're her kids." Karen shook her head. "This nurse manipulated her. She's after money. We contest the will." But when they looked up Adriana, they found something that made their blood run cold. She wasn't just a nurse. She was Eleanor's former student. From 20 years ago, Eleanor had once saved her from being expelled for fighting after a teacher made racist comments about her accent. Eleanor defended her, mentored her, and kept in touch all these years. Cut to Adriana standing in front of Eleanor's house. She held the same photograph Michael had passed around. Her hand trembled as she held the key. Inside, She found letters, dozens of them. From Eleanor. If you're reading this, Adriana, then you know you were never just a nurse. You were the daughter I never had. Thank you for remembering me when my own children didn't. Tears streamed down Adriana's cheeks, but back at Boone's office, Karen wasn't crying. She was calling her lawyer. We're suing her for undue influence, Karen snapped. Michael just smiled. You might want to see what's in the addendum your mother left. Michael pulled out a second document, an addendum handwritten in Eleanor's signature. Purple ink. To anyone who chooses to contest this will, I leave a public letter. May it remind you what legacy truly means. He unfolded it. Karen, James, you were not left out of my will because I forgot you. You were left out because you forgot me. I raised you with love. I gave you a home, holidays, lullabies, and sacrifices. But when I needed comfort, you gave me a brochure. I don't hate you. I pity you. You valued my money over my memories. And now, you have neither. Michael paused. Your mother requested this be published in the town paper if either of you contested the will. It's already been scheduled. Karen's mouth dropped. You're bluffing. Michael handed her a clipping from tomorrow's paper. Lessons from a Forgotten Mother, page A3. James slumped into his chair. We're ruined. Meanwhile, Adriana didn't spend the money on herself. She used Eleanor's savings to start the Whitaker Foundation, funding scholarships for low-income students at Eleanor's old high school. The house turned into a transitional home for elderly women with no family. A plaque outside reads, Eleanor Whitaker, a woman who gave, even when forgotten. At the dedication ceremony, Adriana stood before the crowd. My mother didn't give me life, she said, voice trembling. She gave me direction, dignity, and a chance. This house is her legacy. In the crowd, several nurses from Roseview stood holding flowers. They had seen how Eleanor carried herself in her final days with quiet pride, and a secret in her smile. Now they understood why. Back in their apartment, Karen looked out the window, bitter and quiet. Think we could still get something back? She asked. James didn't answer. He was already scrolling through Adriana's foundation page, looking for a way to donate anonymously. Sometimes, the ones you leave behind leave you with a lesson you'll never forget, based on true events and real experiences shared anonymously. What would you do if this happened in your family? If you believe that real stories have the power to move hearts and open minds, *hit subscribe and join the Sitka storytelling family.